Hey guys, Okie Girl here again, and I've decided I've gotten so many requests for it, I'm going to go ahead and do a video tutorial over clay and basically how I work with it. Two things that I won't be showing you today is number one, anything with Sculpey. Some customizers use oven-baked clay like Sculpey or Fimo clay. I don't use that because, Lord knows, I can't cook a pot of macaroni to save my life. I darn sure don't want to be cooking ponies. Also, won't be showing you anything detailed as far as how I would sculpt like corsets, wings, anything like that, because those are very time consuming, and believe me, if I did that, it would be a few week-long tutorial on how I do it. So I'm just going to show you something real basic with it. The type of clay that I use is epoxy clay. It's actually hardens on its own, like chemical reaction, so I don't have to worry about sticking ponies in the oven and burning down the house. Some people ask me, what sort of tools that I use when I'm sculpting on the ponies. Really, it's whatever I have around the house. Things that I've found, I do have a clay roller, which actually needs to be cleaned, but we can ignore that, to help flatten out the clay. The best thing that I've gotten is this little kit. It's actually not meant for clay work. It's a Cricut tool kit. And my mother got me this for my birthday, so thanks, Mom. I have a straight edge razor blade that I use to help cut clay. There's a, I don't know what you'd call this, has a little flat end on it. I use that to actually smooth and join pieces. There's another little tool here with a razor blade that I'll use. This one, if I can get it out of there, Lord. Anyway, this one is like a dental pick on the end. This one I've used to smooth out clay. This I basically use to help get the clay out of the little pots it comes in. And this I'll use to, this didn't come with the kit, but that I'll use to join pieces. So there's my little handy dandy all-in-one clay kit. Smoothing out clay, you'll want to, as you work, you'll want to smooth out fingerprints, smooth out seams so it all looks, seamless. What I use to smooth them out is just plain old non-scented hand lotion. Anything that you're going to want to attach to the pony, if you're doing like a unicorn horn or wings or anything like that, anything that you're going to attach, you're going to want to make sure that you have a good base, a support system. So just wire, you're going to run it into the pony's body, into the head, and then fix it how you want it, and then sculpt the clay over it. So that way it's anchored into the pony. It's not gonna fall off, because if you sculpt like a unicorn horn separate and then you go and super glue it on the body, chances are it's eventually gonna fall off. But if you have your wire in there, then it's not gonna go anywhere. Also, for support, there's wire mesh that you can use as far as a base when you're building your wings, the base for your wings. You want to use something like this wire mesh, and the wire, this can be used like patch holes, just basically anything. And then after your clay hardens, again, when you're working with it, you'll want to make sure that you smooth it out as much as possible, because one thing you're going to have to do if you're working with clay after it cures is you're going to have to sand. And sanding to me is the biggest pain in the butt ever, but it's got to be done. Just remember, the more you smooth out while your clay's still workable, the less you're going to have to sand when it's cured. So these are the different kinds of sandpaper that I use. I use a real fine grit. This one is actually 320. And I'll just tear off a little piece of it, fold it up, and go to work sanding whatever I've sculpted. This one is kind of like a little foam block. I mean, it's also a 320. I just like it to help, finish off some edges. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started here. The simplest thing that I've thought that I could show you how to do is how I actually turn the G4 ponies into males. So Pinkie Pie here has volunteered to do some gender reassignment surgery. So this is my epoxy, and y'all are in for a treat because this is a brand new bottle. I actually just used up the last of my old pots last night. So you get to see brand new shiny pots of clay instead of half-used mess. So where you're going to work with the clay, you're going to make sure that your hands are clean. So just wash them. So epoxy clay is a two-part self-hardening clay. You have your part A and your part B. So this is part B. So you're just going to take a little bit of it out. Like I said, I'm just going to mod the nose, so I'm not going to use actually that much at all. So just take a little bit out and start squishing it, make it more workable. And then you're going to roll it into a little ball and take your other part. There's your part A. This one's always stickier than part B, and yeah, part B actually smells, believe it or not, like Frito corn chips, but I wouldn't recommend snipping it. So you're going to get a little bit out of there. Like I said, it's stickier than the other part, so you want to make sure that, because you're going to mix these two parts, and that's going to start the chemical reaction that's going to start making it harden. So just roll it into some balls. You want to make sure that you have about the same equal size balls. And then what I do is I roll them out into snakes. And then take the snakes and twist them together like this into a little caterpillar. And then this is for Geek Girl, my fellow customizing friend. Then you're going to smash it. So you smash the caterpillar and you just work it, and you can kind of see like where the two parts are, because that one's darker, that one's more white. So you just kind of blend it until it's all one even color. And then once you start mixing this, some people say this is the downside of epoxy, and I guess it kind of is, but like with Sculpey, you have basically until you bake it, it's not going to get hard on its own. With epoxy, you only have about an hour and a half to 2 hours of work time, and the more it sets after you've mixed it, the stiffer it's going to become. I like to let it set and become a little stiff because it makes it easier for me to sculpt like folds and skirts and stuff like that, and it'll hold its shape better. So I think, yeah, that's pretty much mixed. So we have Pinky here. And the main difference is between the female and male ponies in Friendship is Magic is females have this little dip in their nose and males just kind of don't. So what I do is I just take a little pinch off the clay and I'll set it right there in the bridge of her nose. And this is where you're going to need your lotion because you're going to do a lot of smoothing. So this is just wax paper that I've laid down, that way the clay doesn't get all over the table and Mother doesn't blow a gasket. But you can see I just start smoothing. Straight up towards her forehead, straight down towards her nose. Kind of pinch the sides and work it. You can see how all I'm doing is I'm just filling in that little dip in her nose. That's it. I mean, I'll come down and I'll cover the nostrils too, and I'll kind of square off the end of her nose here. And so you'll want to take like another tool that I like to use, or toothpicks, and just make her some new nostrils. So this is what it looks like when it's cured. It cures hard as a rock. I mean, it's very durable. You can sand it, do whatever you want to it, pretty much. I mean, it's not going to break just doing that. I wouldn't recommend dropping it. I've dropped a pony that I've spent hours, days sculpting on it, dropped it, broke it, let some words that weren't very nice and shall not be repeated here. Let those fly, but just be careful you don't drop it. So again, I mean, we're pretty much done here. I'll go ahead and when I finish making Pinky into whatever she turns out to be, I'll go ahead and post a link in the description to the picture. Anything else that you want to see as far as custom tutorial wise, leave a comment below. I've gotten suggestions such as dyeing a pony, which I do have plans to do. Suggestions on how I paint them. I use an airbrush system, so kind of hard to airbrush and hold a camera at the same time, but I'll see what I can get done as far as that. If I think of anything else as far as clay work, I'll go ahead and add a little second video. But I mean, that's pretty much it. Only thing, I mean, I do recommend that you go ahead and just dive in feet first. I'll post a link to these where I buy the epoxy clay from. Epoxy can only be bought online, and it is for the 1 pound pots like this. It is a little expensive, so if you're going to try it out, they do have like 1/4 pound kits that you can try just to see if you like working with it. But like I said, epoxy is a godsend. It lets me do clay work on ponies, keeps me from turning them into gooey piles of burnt pony mess and burning the house down. It holds detail well, and like I said, once it's cured, you can sand it and do whatever you want to with it. But that's pretty much it for today. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and I'll see y'all later. Happy customizing!